A very good morning to one and all present here. We are here for the first session of day 3 of 3-day International E-Conference by the Department of Psychology, CTTE College in collaboration with IQAC. I take immense pleasure in introducing and welcoming our speaker for this session, Dr. S. Kadiravan. He is the Controller of Examination, FAC, Professor and Head, Department of Psychology, Chevalier University, Salem. He holds Masters in Physics, MPhil in Education, MA in Sociology, Postgraduate Diploma in Guidance and Counseling, PhD in Educational Technology, and PhD in Psychology. He has over 22 years of teaching experience, over 24 years of experience in research field, and over 22 years of experience in training and counseling. He is a member of American Psychological Association, Australian and New Zealand Mental Health Association, International Association for Mental Health, National Academy Psychology, NAOP, etc. He has published over 80 research articles and have constructed about 12 psychological tools. It's indeed an honor to have you here, sir. I request you to please take over the session.
Thank you. Is it visible? Hello?
Sir, your presentation visible, sir.
It is moving?
Yes, it's moving.
Moving?
No, sir. It is visible but not moving.
Yeah, that is the problem with Google Meet. In the edit mode, it will be moving.
Yes, it's now moving, sir.
Okay, no issues. So, good morning, honored present here in this online forum. Indeed, it gives me an immense pleasure and privilege to be a part of the conference organized by the college. And actually, the topic given to me is impact of mental health at work among men and women. So, in general, I hope most of your psychology students, so straight away we can move to the topic. See, today we are living in the cutthroat competition and we are facing the problems and competition at all walks of life. Job or work is not an exception. So definitely we are facing a wide variety of competition at job or at our work. When you think of the forces, what are all compelling us to update our knowledge and skill? We have different forces. The first one is automation. If you look back in a history of industrial psychology, initially industrial psychology was focusing on the blue collar jobs, but slowly the development took place in the industrial psychology and even international labor organization. They came into the effort and they are trying to help the people through the possible means. And again another organization, WHO, they have joined it together and they have started a lot of effort to improve the quality of life of people at work. That starts the importance for mental health at work, but at the same time, till today, we have wide variety of forces which are impelling us or compelling us to update our knowledge and skills. And let's see some of the forces. The first one is automation. Automation, if you look at automation, we are today we can claim ourselves as techno-savvy. Each and every individual, they are having any type of gadgets, like either the mobile phone or laptop or something, and so all are living with the gadgets, and if there is no gadget, we will die. That is the situation. People are addicted to the gadgets. So automation brings a lot of changes, and at the same time, it demands people to update a lot of skills. Otherwise, you will be sacked out from your own industry. Even if you take the computer industry, every day there is a change, and the people working in the computer industry, they keep on updating their skills. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for them to survive in their own field. So automation, we cannot ignore, we cannot deny the benefits we got out of automation, but at the same time, definitely when it comes to work, it poses a lot of threat on the people, and certainly it impels or compels people to update the skills in a particular fashion or at par with the changing demands of the society. The second force is globalization. See, after 1990 GATT agreement, the world is shrinked as the global village. The world is shrinked as the global village, and for instance, even the people in Chennai, you are listening to me, listening the person who is from Salem, not only from Salem, even across the globe, from anywhere we can listen to the people just by connecting to the internet technology. So the globalization and automation together made a lot of revolution, and again it exerts pressure on the people at work. Then workplace change. The best example is during these last 2 years, there is a lot of shift in the workplace. The home became the workstation, and people found to have a lot of stress at the home because we are not habituated to utilize the home as the place of work. Except the computer science people from the IT industry, except them, all the other we don't have the habit of working from home. Especially if you take the teachers, how much we have struggled a lot, and even to arrange the proper connection with the internet and deliver the subject content to the students through the online platform. So the workplace change, that the changes taking place in the workplace is not only with the teaching industry, in all the industries, due to the automation, there is a lot of changes in the workplace. Then demographic changes. Due to the globalization, people are moving to each and every part of the globe, and due to that, the demographic changes took place. The best example is the computer industry. In the computer industry, you have to work according to the workplace timings of the Americans or Western people. So definitely it has its own impact on the human being working from different parts of the globe. Then personal risk. See, today we talk about freedom, enjoyment, everything, but how many people are ready to take the risk? How many people are ready to take the risk? Especially when it comes to the decision making and problem solving, we are ready to evade the responsibility rather than taking up the responsibility. And the next point is responsibility. How much amount of responsibility we are taking? Today in the global competition, the organizations are looking for the people, those who are responsible. Those who stay with the company or organization for a long period of time. They are talking about the accountability and honesty, integrity with the company. There comes your behavior called organizational citizenship behavior. That's a different concept which is always connected with the organizations. So the responsibility, it became an important factor which demand individual to be accountable, or which forces an individual to be responsible at work. Then above are the COVID-19 pandemic, and I need not explain what are the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, because you would have been a victim or you would have been a witness with this COVID-19 pandemic. In this context, there is a huge demand to talk about mental health. In my opinion, not only in this context we should talk about mental health. As I mentioned earlier, already ILO, International Labour Organization, and WHO, they are joined together and started talking about or trying to help the individuals working in the different organizations. Even these efforts have been started during the early part of 1900s, but only after 1950s, after the impact of the humanistic movement in psychology, the emphasis for human at the work gained a lot of momentum, and today we are talking about all sorts of legal aspects, the policies, etc., to prevent the people from the work abuse and help the people to protect their mental health at work. What's mental health? What is mental health? There are different views about mental health. One point of view talks about mental health as an asset. This is the oldest point of view. Assets are the positive quality one should have. And mental health liabilities are the negative qualities one should not have. One should not possess. This is the first approach, initial approach, which spoke about the mental health in terms of assets and liabilities. Then, most of the mental health model they are based on the medical model. Initial works have been done only with the medical personnel. So the medical model, they claim that the absence of mental illness is mental health. The absence of mental illness is mental health. Then in the latter part of the 20th century, especially due to the outgrowth of positive psychology, people have started talking about mental health in terms of psychological well-being. Mental health in terms of psychological well-being. In a nutshell, what mental health is? What mental health is? The ability to learn. So if you are a mentally healthy person, you should be capable of fulfilling the 3 R's of education: reading, writing, and arithmetic. So it's possible only when you have the capacity to learn, the ability to learn. Then not only learning alone reflects the mental health, but you should be in a position to feel and express as well as manage a wide range of positive as well as negative emotions. Bipolarity is the cardinal rule of life, cardinal rule of this earth. So if there is the positive pole, there should be negative pole. If there is the north pole, there should be the south pole. Even if you take the magnetism, electricity, if there is the positivity and there should be negativity, otherwise there will be mismatch. Similarly, even if in the life, even if you take about the human life, we have the positive as well as negative emotions. So we should know we should learn the art of feeling the emotion, expressing the emotion, when, where and how to express. So expressing the emotion and manage a wide range of positive as well as negative emotions, because both are part and parcel of the individual survival. So that also accounted for mental health. Then not only that, the ability to form and maintain good relationship with others. Being a social animal, we cannot live without society. So we should be in a position to establish and maintain a healthy relationship with other people, healthy harmonious relationship with the other people. That is accounted as adjustment in the psychological terms. So you should be in a position to establish and maintain healthy harmonious relationship with others. That is what the third aspect of mental health. And above all, we should be in a position to cope with and manage change and uncertainty, because change is the order of the day. Change is the order of the day. Except change, everything is changing in the changing world. Except the word change, everything is changing in the changing world. So we must be in a position to understand and manage the change and uncertainty. Today the life is uncertain. The best example is the war between Ukraine and Russia. Before 1990, Ukraine was part of USSR, but after the separation, after the demolition of communalism there, then they have separated into different countries. So now the brothers are fighting. So uncertainty is always there. Similarly, we may have uncertainty in any situation, even in our relationship or with the work or at any places. We must be ready to face the uncertainty and cope up with the uncertainty. Due to the uncertainty, we may experience the change and we must manage the change. These are all known as the competencies or the components of mental health. As I said earlier, after the introduction of the positive psychology, the mental health is viewed as the positive quality. They are not stick on to the mental illness model. They are not accepting the absence of mental illness is mental health. Rather, they are talking about it is like the mental health assets, the oldest model. The psychological well-being talks about mental. These are all the qualities one should have. The first one is self-acceptance. We must know and understand about our own self, and we must understand ourselves as such. We must understand and accept ourselves as such. Without self-acceptance, we cannot look the society, we cannot look into the business of other people. So the self-acceptance is the foremost important quality, which is the remarkable indicator of your psychological well-being. Then personal growth. Wherever you go, whatever you do, there should be an opportunity for personal growth. If there is no personal growth, then we have started feeling bad and we are frustrated. So there should be some opportunities for personal growth. Then purpose in life. See, there should be a specific purpose in life. Many people, especially the young generation, the generation Z, if you ask them, always they have the short purpose. Always they have the interim purpose, short purpose, not the ambition or lifelong goals. But there must be a purpose in life. There must be a purpose in life. If at all you claim that I don't have any purpose, you are the better candidate for the mental hospital. Only mentally disturbed people, they may not have the purpose. But if you are a human being living in a society, you must have a purpose for your life. You must have a purpose in your life. Environmental mastery. Environmental mastery. So wherever you go, wherever you are, you should know and understand your own environment, and you should be in a position to handle the environment in an effective or conducive manner. That's known as environmental mastery. That autonomy. You must feel that you are independent and you have independence too. Then above all, without relationship, nothing exists in this society. The positive relations with the others. So if you look at the initial meaning for mental health, some of the components of the direct relationship and handling the emotions, the ability to learn, all these things again, these are all some of the components of the psychological well-being. But this model, psychological well-being model, look at the mental health as the positive quality, not the absence of mental health. Then what are the 8 R's, the basic 8 R's for mental health? First one, role clarity. Role clarity, especially when we talk about the work. Yesterday we have celebrated the International Women's Day, and till today, we claim ourselves as the male chauvinist society, and even though both men and women are employed, there are a lot of disparity between the men and women, even at their work as well as in the family or responsibilities in the home. But we should have the role clarity. What's the role we are playing? What's the role we are playing? So if you have the role clarity, 50% of stress will be goes down. 50% of stress will be thrown away once you have the role clarity. What is your role? What role you are playing in this moment? What role? There comes your personality. Personality is the word derived from the word personal, which means mask. We play a wide variety of roles by wearing different masks. Likewise, the role you are playing with the mask is personality. Similarly here, you must have the role clarity. Which mask you are wearing, which role you are playing. Which mask you are wearing and which role you are playing. And do remember, the same person cannot play the same role everywhere. You cannot play the same role everywhere. For instance, you may be the CEO of the organization, but once if you go home, you are the father or you are the mother. The neighbor cannot play that role. So you must have that awareness. You must have that awareness. Especially teachers often face this problem. Even after going home, they have started teaching their wives or husbands or their children. Okay? For the life partner, there is no other option. They may listen, but children, they will not listen. See, keep quiet. Keep quiet. You may be a professor or you may be a teacher in your college. Okay? I know about my teacher, what he or she told. Okay? Children nowadays, they are very, very intelligent, and they cut down your role and they are sensitizing you to play your own role at the family. So we must have the role clarity, especially at the work. At the work, if I have the role clarity, many of the problems could be solved. Then right. The second R stands for right. Right talks about not only about our own fundamental rights, rather what is right for other people. For example, when you work in the organization, and that too when you are playing the role of the superior or leader or manager, once you start thinking about what is right for the other people, then you are reducing almost all the stress of the other people, because they will start believing you as the responsible boss. Responsible boss. So we must be in a position to understand and help the others about their own rights. Or we must think in the way that what is right for other people, thereby we can become the contributing member to the organization. Then reality. The reality is constantly changing. The reality is constantly changing. So we must understand that people are work setting with reference to the constantly changing reality. Constantly changing reality. If you are incapable of understanding the work atmosphere or work pressure with reference to the constantly changing reality, you will be inviting stress or you will be creating stress for your co-workers. You will be creating stress for your co-workers. And responsibility, already we have seen responsibility is the most important quality under the mental health. Then respect. Respect has to be earned, not to be begged or not to be compelled and begged. Respect has to be earned. Then relationship. Relationship, again, this was seen as the important component of mental health. And recreation. Recreation. See, we work for the life, not at the cost of life. Now, it should not be at the cost of the life. Many people, once they involved with the work, they think that they are the work or they are the organization. But that should not be the case. You must spare time for your family, your own recreation. Even sparing time is time with the family, maybe a recreation for many people due to the work pressure. So recreation, that's the most important thing. And the most importantly, the Indian attitude is recreation means applying leave and sleeping in the home. That is not recreation. Recreation should provide the nutrition to your mind, not only to the body, to your mind also. So we must utilize the recreation in the proper way. Then rest. Obviously, we need rest. Do remember, if you do right, no one remembers. If you do wrong, no one forgets. That is the problem with the workplace today. When you talk about the mental health, what are the work-related risk factors with mental health? What are the work-related risk factors? Interactions between type of work. Interactions between type of work. Especially if you go for the manufacturing organizations, okay, the real problem is interaction between the different type of work. For instance, if you take the car manufacturing industry, okay, as you know very well, 99.99% of the time, all the parts of the car cannot be manufactured in the same company. For instance, the tires, which may be purchased from the different company, the tire company, then the engine, that may be the core aspect of the company, then the mirror in the window, okay, window mirrors are separate and the side mirrors are separate, both are purchased from the different companies. Likewise, when you get the things together and organize the things, we should be extra cautious. But at the same, which is possible only when you have the complete idea, complete picture about the different type of work in the organization. So the interactions between different type of work or various parts of work in the organization, okay, definitely it is a risk factor. For instance, if you are an electrical engineer, you may not be having you may not be knowing about the mechanical aspects of the work, but the company demands the electrical engineer to know about the mechanical principles and with the production. The second one is organizational environment as well as managerial environment. We may club together, but purposely it was placed as organizational environment as well as managerial environment. Organizational environment can be differentiated into two types. One is the real physical environment prevailing in the organization. Then the second one is the psychological environment prevailing in the organization. Both has its own impact and it's a risk factor definitely. Then managerial environment, today you know a lot about the bureaucracy. So bureaucracy and red tapeism. So in many of the managerial environment, without saying no, we have to accept the reality that we are experiencing it. Then skills and competencies of employees. Already I have discussed under the forces demanding the forces changing the skill demands. We have already discussed about this. So the skills we have to develop with a different set of skills. For instance, even if you look at the recent policies in education, many of the policies in education, they are insisting about various skills. For instance, if you look at the jobs nowadays, previously in the computer industry, the IT industry, they preferred only BE, BTech graduates. And the next change was happened that the BE, BTech candidates from any discipline, if they are acquiring certain skill in computers, they have been given job. Now, there is the next paradigm shift. Now, most of the IT companies are focusing on the arts and science colleges, arts and science industry, and they are looking for the basic skill sets with the people, and they are ready to give the training, and they provide the employment to the arts and science graduate. Now, there is a lot of shift in the skill demands. Instead of engineering and technology graduates, now they are looking for the arts and science graduate. See the problems of the engineering and technology graduates. They are unable to get the complete job. Previously, they are hacking all the jobs. Now, the arts and science industry, they are dominating the field, and these people are looking for the different jobs. And do remember, whatever your subject may be, whatever your qualification may be, if you are developed with the proper skills and competencies, obviously you will be getting the job and you will be getting the promotion. Support available for employees to carry out the work. How much the superiors and the superiors as well as the organization is extending the support to the employees. Now, support to the employees. Then, inadequate health and safety policies. Inadequate health and safety policies. So, most of the, for example, most of the organization, they have the medical officer. They have the medical officer. Actually, as per the industrial or organizational policies, the medical officer should be trained in critical intervention. Critical intervention. But if you go to any of the companies, they have the medical officer just for the namesake, not for the critical intervention. I'm not finding fault with the companies, they have their own policy, but the health policy, here we are talking about the risk factors. So, just I'm quoting an example, I'm not personalizing anyone or anything. So, inadequate health as the safety policies. Safety policies. For example, in the construction industry, there are so many safety policies determined by the state and central governments, but if you go to the large scale construction, you can witness that none of the safety measures, safety policies are maintained and followed by the people as well as implemented by the owners or organizations. So, inadequate health and safety policies, they are the risk factors. And poor communication and management practices. Poor communication and management practices. In psychology, we used to say that if you sit and talk, many of the problems would have been solved. Many of the problems would have been solved. But no one is ready to sit and many of the people are not ready to talk. That comes the problems with the poor communication. And similarly, the management practices. The downward leadership and downward communication is very, very poor in many of the organizations that affect the state of well-being of the people. Then limited participation in decision making. Similarly, in the decision making process, many of the people have not been involved only at the topmost level. Many decisions are made and the middle level and lower level people are expected to follow their decision without knowing the real risk in the decisions. Then inflexible working hours. Inflexible working hours. See, except in IT industry, in all the other industries, definitely there is no flexibility in the working hours. There is no flexibility in the working hours. So, inflexible working hours is also became the risk factor, work-related risk factor. Then, unclear tasks or organizational objectives. So, the organizational objectives should be very clear, but in many of the organizations, we have our own question whether they have the objectives or not. What are the major mental health issues at the workplace? Major mental health issues at the workplace. One is the relationship problem with the superiors. Relationship problem with the superiors. Especially when both gender, when men and women are, nowadays we have to talk about the transgenders too, when all the genders are involved. All the genders are involved. There is a lot of relationship problem. So either at the personal level or at the organization level, or even due to the miscommunication, you have a lot of problem with your relationship. So we have the relationship problem with the superiors. Then we have relationship problem with our own colleagues. This is the second major mental health issue at the workplace. Then work-family conflict. Many of us bring the problems of the family and mix it with the work, and we are taking the problems of work and we are involving the same into the family. Then high demand for performance. Everywhere in the workplace, we are expecting the highest performance, though the individual is incapable of, or though the individual is having the personal risk and problems, but there is a high demand for performance. Everywhere it is viewed or measured only with the performance. Even we have the analysis for performance appraisal. Job insecurity. Job insecurity. Except in few of the government jobs. Okay, in all the jobs, people are suffering with job insecurity. Then bureaucratic constraints. Bureaucratic constraints. Then what are the various workplace issues affecting the mental health? We have a lot of stigma, whether it is the social stigma or workplace stigma, gender stereotypes, etc., etc. This affects the mental health of the people at work. Then discrimination, discriminating the people on the basis of caste or community or the color or the race or the gender, definitely that will be affecting the mental health of people. Then demand or control and effort or reward relationship. Either we may face the demanding relationship or controlling relationship, definitely that will be affecting the mental health. Then similarly, effort or reward relationship. Only when you put the effort, you will be getting the reward, otherwise you will not get the bonus and the fringe benefits. This kind of compelling relationship also affect the workplace, because you are under the compulsion to perform, otherwise you will be sacked out after a particular time. Then absenteeism, due to the job stress and burnout, there is a lot of absenteeism, and due to the job insecurity, nowadays the next problem is prevailing in the workplace. The next problem is presenteeism. It is the presenteeism is nothing but even you are staying beyond your working hours, even coming to the company or organization during the leave and the holidays, because you have the fear of job, you fear of losing the job, so you have a lot of insecurity, and that's why you are doing all these things. Then job burnout, which is known to everyone. Then harassment, violence and bullying. Violence and bullying. See, one of the major concern of International Labour Organization is the violence at the workplace. Due to the violence at the workplace, many of the women got affected. Because they are insulted either physically or emotionally. So many of the women got affected during the 1950s to 1960s. That's why the ILO, International Labour Organization, they have started giving much emphasis for this workplace violence and addressing the workplace violence issues. Similarly, the harassment, either due to the power or position or due to the lower position, the people would have been harassed. And bullying is not only at the school level or college level, it is everywhere in the society, and workplace is not an exception. Then problematic substance abuse, the drug use, alcoholism and other aspects. Then invariably all these mental health issues leads to the mental health problems, and there are various disorders diagnosed at the workplace like anxiety disorders, mood disorders, etc. at the workplace. And all these disorders are the mental health issues have some of the common symptoms. These are all called as the warning signs. What are the warning signs of mental health? One is reflected by the physical symptoms, the muscular tension, then frequent headache, then if you have the fatigue, then frequent cold, then sleep problems, gastrointestinal problems, high blood pressure, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, dizziness, then chest pain, similarly rapid heartbeat. These are all some of the physical symptoms. These are all common. If you read everything and if you feel, you may feel that you will be having all the symptoms, but that's not the issue. Okay, but unusually, if you observe any of these symptoms after the work or in your workplace, these are the warning physical symptoms of your stress and mental health. Then emotional symptoms. The first one is agitation. Fighting with the superiors, fighting with the subordinates, displacing the anger with the family members and so on. Agitation. Then anger, anxiety, the apprehension, feeling of loneliness. Then depression, inability to relax, always having the irritability or moodiness, having the frequent mood swings. These are all some of the emotional signs, warning signs of mental health. Then the cognitive symptoms. When you have a lot of confusion or constantly worrying about either personally or at the work, or having the distractions, unable to pay the attention, then when you have the memory problem, then poor concentration and judgment, then when you have the racing thoughts, then always looking only the negative things, etc. These are all some of the cognitive symptoms or cognitive signs of mental health issues. Then behavioral symptoms, this includes conflict with family, friends and loved ones, eating more or less, anorexia nervosa or bulimia, sleeping too much or too little, then isolating oneself, then delaying everything, procrastinating, then ignoring or neglecting the responsibilities, consuming alcohol, cigarettes or other drugs, then nervous habits like nail beating. These are all some of the behavioral symptoms. So we must aware of these physical, emotional, cognitive and behavioral symptoms. Thereby we can assess our colleagues and we can help them, or we can assess our own self and take the suitable measures. Then, how to promote mentally healthy workplace? How to promote mentally healthy workplace? So we should help the individuals by promoting the healthy work-life balance. Healthy work-life balance. There is a Zen Buddhist story about this work-life balance. One CEO of the organization, whenever he is leaving home, he used to touch the nail near the doorstep and he says something, murmuring something, and he used to leave. Similarly, whenever he comes home, he is touching the nail again and murmuring something, and he enters into the home. One of his neighbor is keep on watching this fellow. Normally, people are busy in watching the others' work, not their own work. So the neighbor was watching this fellow, and he wants to know the secret behind that murmuring and the nail. Even in this fellow's absence, he went there and checked the nail, whether it is any magical nail from Kerala or somewhere else, but he couldn't find the answer. He came to the situation that unless he knew the reality, he knew the secret behind that nail, his head will be broken. Because for many of us, our head will be broken if we didn't know the secret of the other people. So one day in the evening, when the executive has entered into the home, this fellow also followed him and entered. And he was introducing himself, and so, I'm your neighbor, etc. Then he has offered a cup of coffee. Then after coffee, he was talking in general. Then he said, "Sir, I want to ask one thing." Okay, he said, "Yes." "Sir, whenever you are leaving home, you are touching that nail and telling something, you are murmuring something. I like to know the secret, sir, because I am regularly watching you. What you are doing while leaving the home and coming back to the home. So I want to know the secret, sir." Then the executive replied, "Whenever I am leaving home, I am leaving all my family problems near the doorstep. I am leaving all my family problems near the doorstep because I want to ensure that none of my family burden should interfere with my work, my performance at work." Okay, by this time you should have understood. This fellow asked, "Sir, even while coming also you are touching the nail." The executive smiled and responded, "See, while coming home, I am ensuring that I am leaving all my official burdens near the doorstep, and I want to ensure that none of my official burden will affect the happiness of my family, because home is the place of happiness. Because home is the place of happiness." No story can explain the work-life balance better than this Zen Buddhist story. Okay, so if at all you have this kind of work-life balance, definitely you don't have any complaint about the mental health. But we are under the compulsion that we have to promote the work-life balance at work. Then discuss about the mental health at workplace. So periodically we have to organize the programs and sensitize the employees about the warning signs of mental health, warning issues related to mental health, and what are all the mental health benefits we have, mental health to protect the mental health, what are all the programs we have, etc., etc. We have to inform them. So in the corporate companies, there is a room called stress buster room. There you can find the rubber balloons, rubber balls, a mirror, everything will be a bed, pillow, everything is available. So whenever you feel you are stressed, this is the Japanese principle. Whenever you feel you are stressed, you can go to that room and you can keep the photo of your manager or superior, whomsoever you want, and you can blast the person, you can kick the person. Okay, or you can think about the manager as the pillow and you can release the stress, and after 10 minutes you feel that you are releasing the stress, you can come back and focusing on the productivity. Right. So not only we have to discuss the mental health in the workplace, even we should provide the ventilation for the people. Then offer free screening tools. Okay, so it's the duty or bound duty of the organization to screen the people for mental health issues. So we have to offer, the organization should offer the free screening tool. Then the organization should talk about EAP benefits, Employee Assistance Program, and its benefits. Employee Assistance Program. For example, what are the fringe benefits available? So at the first year, what are the benefits you can enjoy? Second year, you enjoy. Likewise, we have to sensitize the employees about, through the Employee Assistance Program, we can sensitize the employees about the company policies and what are all the benefits available for the employees. What are the benefits available for the employees? Because mind always looks for benefit. There is a story about Swami Vivekananda with this benefit. Swami Vivekananda, when he went to Chicago for delivering the speech, you know about the Swami Vivekananda speech at Chicago. Then once in the evening, Swami Vivekananda was walking with his friend near the golf club. Near the golf club. You know, golf is the game which is played only by the rich people on those days. So some of the whitish people there is a lot of race and discrimination due to the race in those days in USA. So the whitish people, they were playing golf, and in the golf you would have seen a small ball. You will have a long stick and you have to hit the ball. The ball will be, if the ball fell into a small pit, then it is considered as a success. That is the way of playing the golf game. Then Swami Vivekananda with his friend, he was standing and watching this, and these people, they want to criticize Vivekananda. They called Swami Vivekananda and his friend inside, and they were asking on seeing the dress, the Kavi dress and all. They started criticizing, and finally it ended up with the argument that whether he can play golf. Swami Vivekananda asked Swami Vivekananda, he didn't even know how to hold the golf stick. Okay, it is a costly game on those days. Then he was asking, what is the benefit I have? What is the benefit I have? Then these people smiled and replied, how much amount you have? We can have a bet. We can have a bet. At that time, actually, Swami Vivekananda was having only $10 or $20 in his packet. Right? For example, let's take it is $10. Okay? So he said, I have $10. So how much you are ready to bet? He said $5. He said $5. Then they have given the bat to Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda closed his eyes and murmuring something, and immediately hit the ball. The ball exactly fell into the pit. Fell into the pit. Then they didn't believe Swami Vivekananda that he didn't know how to play the golf. So they were scolding, and again he said that I don't know how to play the golf. Okay, this time again they want to take the chance, because this may be due to accident. So now Swami Vivekananda is having $15 in his hand. So they want to squeeze that amount, $15. Then they said, this time he can have $15 the bet. Second time also he closed the eyes and he murmured something and he hit the ball. The ball fell into the pitch. They couldn't even believe how it was happened. Then they were scolding, and finally they ended up with the argument, and they made an agreement that this time you have to, we will blindfold your eyes. Okay, with the blind goggle, you have to hit the ball. Even he has agreed. But this time he has asked, what is the benefit I will be getting? What's the benefit I will be getting? They said that $1,000. $1,000. If you hit the ball correctly, you will get $1,000. Otherwise, we will take the $30 in your packet. He has agreed. They have blindfolded Swami Vivekananda. Again, Swami murmured something and he hit the ball, and the ball exactly fell into the pit. Now they are no more ready to go for betting, because already they have lost more than $1,000, and they were requesting Swami Vivekananda, how it's possible. He smiled and said, I closed my eyes and I was telling to my mind that this is the benefit you will get if you achieve it. So I did it. Now think about the benefits. Think about the benefit, how it would be the motivating factor within the individual's mind. That's why I have narrated about the anecdote of Swami Vivekananda. Then make wellness as a priority at the workplace. Then provide in-service events to enhance the mental health and well-being of the employees. Then support employees' efforts to get help. Then reduce the stigma, try to remove the stigma. Immediately removing the stigma is not possible, that's why I use the word reduce the stigma. Then make progress with one step at a time. In all the aspects, we cannot bring the change in an organization. So what is the most important issue? What is the most common issue? First, it should be addressed. Then you should go one by one. Yeah. What are the activities or steps for protecting mental health at work? Remember, the title was given as for men and women, and in my opinion, there is no gender discrimination or difference at work. Okay, except some of the disparities, there is no difference. That's why I am discussing everything in common. Right. The first one is you must have set work hours. Okay. See, for example, if you are going to the college or schools, you have the set work hours. Morning 9:45 to evening 4 o'clock, or morning 8 o'clock to 1:15. Likewise, you have the set work hours, but it's not possible with, even in the government offices. Even it's not possible with the government offices. In the morning, set morning maybe you have the set work entry, but exit. Ask many of the people working in the government offices, it's not possible. Similarly, in the organization, if there is a problem with the machines, if there is a problem with the productivity, the work hours may be elongated. So, as far as possible, have set work hours and stick to them. Be efficient with your time at work. Be efficient with your time at work. One of the Japanese proverbs is, if you extend your working hour even for 5 minutes, that shows your inefficiency. You have wasted time in the workplace. You have wasted your time at the workplace. So be efficient with your time at work. Set specific micro goals. Okay? All the goals cannot be attained in the workplace. So first, in the initial level, set the specific micro goals. What I should do. For example, for every day we can set the priority plan. Morning, once you enter the office, what are all the issues to be addressed? Then, what are all the major issues to be addressed? Or what are all the meetings you should convene? Likewise, you can set the priority. Then exercise your options. Wherever it's possible, you have to exercise your options. Establish the boundaries. If there is no boundary, there is no limit for abuse to. Then learn to say no. This talks about your assertiveness. Okay? If you are not capable of, you must in a position to say no. If you are not skilled in that aspect, okay, without any fear, you should say no. Just because of the compulsion of the authority, if you do something, then it will be spoiling the entire work atmosphere, or it will be danger to the other people at work. So learn to say no. Make your workspace work for you. Make your workspace work for you. Then tap into technology. Whenever and wherever it's possible, utilize the technology to the fullest extent. That is the purpose of the technology introduction in the workplace. And digital detox. Okay, already we are addicted with the gadgets, so always go for digital detoxing. Then work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder. Just because of the hard work alone, everything cannot be fulfilled. I didn't mean that you should not work hard. Okay, but even when you are working hard, you should be smarter. Leave work at work. That's how the work-life balance I spoke. The story. Then know when to ask for help. So if something is too overwhelming, something you are incapable of, something going beyond your head, you should know when to ask for help. And be realistic. Be realistic. Then do not compare yourself with anybody else. Do not compare yourself with anybody else. Because the basic problem with many of the people at work is they have started comparing themselves with the others, and each and every individual is unique and you have unique capabilities. You will perform only with your unique capabilities, and even we used to say that no two individuals can be alike. Similarly, no two capabilities will be alike. So don't compare. Never ever compare. Nurture your network. Right? Network, social connections. Make time for you. There comes your recreation and rest. We have seen 8 hours. Then nurture your family and the family relationships. Then take vacations. Then take small breaks too. Because small breaks, many of the research studies have proved that taking a nap during the lunchtime with the heavy work, which will increase the productivity. Okay? So teachers don't go to the class and don't sleep in the class. I am talking about the blue collar jobs. Then feel the negative. Already I told that bipolarity is the order of the nature. So negative is also there. Feel the negative. And whenever you feel the anxiety, acknowledge the anxiety. I am anxious. And no, you are not alone. No, you are not alone. In counseling, we used to say this. Okay? Whenever the individual is coming with a problem and crying about the problem, we used to say that not only you have this problem, majority of the people have the problem, or many people have this problem. This itself gives the confidence for the individual that I am not alone. Similarly, no, you are not alone. Then talk. Many people, they never express their problem. So talk about the problem, not the nonsense. Then laugh. Many of the people in this society, they forget to smile and laugh. They forget to smile and laugh. When you laugh, lakhs of tissues are working in the face, and when you laugh, you feel you are energetic. Then try something new, which includes your creativity. Spend more time on what's real, which means don't daydream, don't over daydream, and don't stick on to your imagination alone. Don't stick on to your imagination alone. Show off your shortcomings. Okay? If you have shortcomings, definitely display it and accept it, acknowledge it. Just be human. Just be human. See, with this advancement in science and technology, we forget that we are humans at all. We are humans at all. Then understand the cost. What is the cost? What you are losing? Then work on your strengths. Work on your strengths. Continue progressing toward big goals. See, initially we are talking about the micro goals. Then once you attain certain level, certain amount of clarity or certain amount of skill, then you should focus on the big goals, not to stuck with the small goals always. Take care of your health. Make exercise a must do, not a should do. Then healthy eating habits, rest, sleep. This talks a lot about the personal grooming. Then manage your mind. You can go for meditation, you can do some of the yoga practices, or if you wish, you can listen music or talk to your friends. Talk to your friends. Then do things for others. Okay? Keep a gratitude journal. Keep a gratitude journal. We must be grateful for what we have. What we have. There is a story in Japan, a cup of tea. A cup of tea. In a specific day, the Japanese, they will sit and they will have a cup of tea and they will have a chip and they will thank the tea completely. Heartfully they will be thanking the tea. It will take 1 hour or 1.5 hours to complete a cup of tea. So even if you are capable of thanking a tea in the cup, obviously you will be thanking everything in your world, in the globe. So that is called as keep a gratitude journal. Even you can write down what are the things you are grateful. You have to show your gratitude and do things for others. Whenever we are doing something for others, okay, that provides a sense of fulfillment, the life purpose. So learn to do things for others. Be creative. Be creative. Give and receive positive feedback. Okay, whenever you are giving the feedback, first focus on the positives. Don't hurt the people with the negatives. Give the positive feedback so that you will be receiving the positive feedback too. Then check your resources. What are all the capabilities you have? Then, no, it's not about job title. It's about you. It's not just about the job title. So your involvement, your contribution to the work. Your contribution to the work. Know your blind spots. Definitely we have a lot of blind spots. So know your blind spots. What are the areas you have to improve? What are the areas you have to make the unconscious into conscious? Watch your language. For using the filthy, bad and irritated language, that's not the good sign of your mental health. And take the lead. Whenever and wherever you get any lead, take the lead and make forward. Then block out the negativity. Negativity is common, but don't give much emphasis for negativity. Learn to ignore it or block it out. Then be aware of depression or anxiety warning signs. Already we discussed about the physical, cognitive, emotional and behavioral symptoms. Then don't let depression derail your success. One of the common problem, mental problem at work nowadays is simple depression. So don't let depression derail your success. Know your rights. Know your rights, but don't always fight for your rights. That will get a bad name. Then talk to your boss. Talk to the authority or boss or seniors whenever you have the problem, because whenever you take the mental problems at the workplace, because of the hierarchy it happens or because of the bureaucratic constraint it happens. So talk to the boss, discuss, don't argue, discuss. Okay, so these are all some of the tips for protecting the mental health at work. Thank you. Your life is your message to the world. Make sure it's inspiring. Thank you. I thank the organizers for providing me this wonderful opportunity to meet you people and address these. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, there are certain questions put forth by the audience. Yes, sir. So, is there any tips for women on how to manage between family and work while keeping their mental health in balance?
See, strictly speaking, women are very strong in the mental health. Okay, many people will not accept it, but I am the person, I am the therapist who should accept the reality. Okay. People used to talk about who is the weaker sex, but I used to say that women is the stronger sex. Women is the stronger sex. Even from the chromosome level, okay, men is the hybrid, women is the stronger sex. And look at the history of cardiac arrest and all the other issues. Okay, you can't find that women got the frequent cardiac arrest, but men are vulnerable. Men are the vulnerable people. But the most important thing is for women, they have to set the priority. They have to set the priority. See, whenever the priority is set and well defined, okay, and if you go as per the priority, you don't have to complain about the mental health. So set the priorities.
Yes, sir. So you said that positive relation with others is one of the component of psychological well-being.
Yes.
So is it good to have emotional bonding with peers or have only professional relationship with them?
See, whatever the kind of relationship you can have as per your wills and fancy, but too much of emotional bonding is not at all advisable. Okay, we should follow the detached attachment. Not only with the workplace, even with your family, you should have the detached attachment. Nothing is permanent in this world. Okay, even if you have to die in the next moment, you should be ready so that you will be dying peacefully. You will be dying peacefully. So this is called a detached attachment. We must have the detached attachment, not emotional bonding. And many a times due to this emotional bonding only many people got affected. Which is possible only when you have the role clarity and you take the responsibility. For example, as the father, I am discharging my duties to my children, right? But at the same time, I am acknowledging that they are the different individuals. I cannot demand anything from them. Just because I am doing my role, I cannot tax them, I cannot demand them. I have that much clarity. This is an example for detached attachment.
That was so clear, sir. One more question. How to face the critics and gossips at work so that it has minimum effect on our mental health?
Ignore people. Ignore it. Okay? It is like the stimulus response by classical conditioning. Okay? If the child falls in the ground and if you attend the child, okay, immediately the child will be crying. Just watch your child. If no one notices that, even if the child is bleeding, okay, you don't look left and right and it will take the saliva and put it there and it will start running. Okay? So the best way to handle the temper tantrum of the child is ignoring it. The same principle is valid everywhere. We read psychology but we forget to apply psychology everywhere. The classical conditioning theory only. Okay? Ignore it. How many times they will be focusing on that? But we require some patience in the initial stage. Right? We have to ignore it. Once if you have started reacting it, we must learn to respond. But many of the times what we do is we used to react. That is what they want. They want to demoralize you. That is why they are spreading the rumors or they gossip about you. Right? Ignore them. After a particular period, they will keep quiet. They will shut them out. Especially for women, this is the biggest problem. And since basically they are a little bit higher emotional, they yield to this kind of gossips and they are inviting trouble for themselves. So ignore it.
Yes.
If you have the clarity about what you think and what you do, you don't bother about these people.
Yes, sir. So, how to handle situations, like this is a situational question where they have asked like one member of the team is putting their effort, their contributions, everything, and the other members compared to that one person are putting in only a little bit of effort. So how can that one person handle the situation?
Acceptance. Because the international theory says that only 10% of the people work. The rest 90% enjoy the benefits. So it's the order of the day. We must accept the people. See, just because they are not working, we cannot compromise our own quality. Right? So you keep contributing, let them feel shy and one day they will change. Again, it requires patience. I am not giving situational answer, it is everywhere, it's valid.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'd like to thank our speaker, Dr. S. Kadiravan, for taking time and enlightening us on the topic impact of mental health at work. Your mental health tips on 8 hours was very useful, sir, and your examples, your anecdotes, and all the proverbs that you gave relating to the topic made the topic very clear and in detail for us. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you for answering all the questions. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ananda. Thank you, Lavanya and Alima. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Can I leave the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will share the PowerPoint to Lavanya. You can share it with the participants.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. Okay. Hello, ma'am.
You have any
Ma'am,
questions from here?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I can learn. I want to talk I can speak with you within Tamil.
Can you
Okay,
drop
ma'am.
can you drop your question in the chat box? We will convey to them.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sorry for the disturbance,
No
ma'am.
issues. It's our pleasure to receive your question and we will be reverting back with an answer. So,
Okay, ma'am.
Thank
Okay,
you.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.